Oh, hello! Welcome back to my channel and to a type of video I haven't done in years. I do have several other Q&A videos that I've done on this channel. I will leave them up in the cards for you. So thank you all so much for submitting your questions. And hopefully I will get to all of your questions, but we shall see, won't we? Alright, so we're gonna start with the Instagram questions. First question. Dream collaboration. Ooh, that's a really good question. I have several that I would love to do here on YouTube. YouTube especially. But I would love to do a collaboration with Sophia. I love her channel. I feel like she's someone on YouTube that I would actually get along with in real life. I love her silliness. I love that she's a bit on the gothic side. I'd love to collaborate with her, with Amber Scholl. She's another person I would love to get to know in real life. She seems really sweet and I love her style. Those are the first two that come to mind. I would love to collaborate with them. Salty or sweet? Why not both? My mom got me these amazing truffles for Christmas that were sea salt caramel. So good. Salty and sweet together, perfection. Both is my answer. Favorite holiday dessert? Oh, these are really good questions, and now I'm hungry. I love cannolis. Cannolis are some of my favorites, so probably cannolis. I also used to really love flan. That was one of my favorite desserts. I really can't have many desserts now. I mean, I can, but I shouldn't because I have a form of celiac, which means I have allergic reactions to gluten, which is bread, pasta, and also processed sugar. So I can't have sugar, cane syrup, and that includes any of the like stevia, you know, the fake sugars. Can't have any of those. So I try to stay away from sweets, but I just can't help myself. They're so delicious. What sparked you to become and to love who you are? You are very inspiring. Thank you. So in college was when I really blossomed and became who I am, or more of who I am today. And I had access to the internet. That's the most important part because that's where I discovered gothic style, gothic dress, and I was scrolling through Pinterest one day and I saw this beautiful gothic model and it caught my eye and I was, oh my gosh, this person is so beautiful. I didn't know that that was a way that humans could look. I didn't know that was an option when we were customizing our characters. So I found that, fell down that rabbit hole, and I just fell in love. And I just feel so comfortable and so happy like this. Black is definitely my happy color, and I've never looked back. I love expressing myself, and I definitely didn't do a good job in the beginning, that is for sure. I did a lot of experimentation with makeup and style until I found what I feel like suits me the best. I just feel so confident and so happy with this, looking the way that I want to. And granted, I am a bit of a chameleon where some days I'll wear all pink or some days I'll just wear jeans or a t-shirt or sweatpants. But for the most part, goth is my go-to style and I just love being alternative. It makes you stand out from the crowd, especially where I live. So that was something that I really liked as well. I didn't like looking like everybody else. I wanted to look different and stand out. So now I do. Why don't you do lookbook type videos more often? I love seeing your creative side. Thank you. I've actually been thinking about being a personal stylist. I would love to do that as a job. I don't really know if there's a market for it where I am though. I feel like it'd have to be somewhere more prosperous like LA or New York City because for the most part a lot of people I feel don't really care about fashion. They just put on clothes because they have to go out and not be naked in public. So that's something I would definitely love to do. I love putting outfits together. I love styling things with accessories and having everything come together. It's very satisfying. And the main reason why I don't do more lookbooks is just because I feel like not many people like them as much. They don't do as well as my haul videos on my channel, and I always try to cater to what people want to watch the most because that's also how I make my money. But I would be happy to do more lookbooks, so let me know down below in the comments if you'd like to see more. Happy to do them. What is one thing you would want your younger self to know? That is a great question. I think I would want my younger self to know that it's okay to be weird and just to be who you are, because I'm still struggling with this as an adult, where I'm very strange and weird and I make weird noises, and I've been told multiple times that I'm like Jim Carrey in a woman's body, which I appreciate because I love that man. He's one of my absolute favorite people. Watching his movies always makes me happy and always makes me laugh. So I would just tell her that it's okay to be who you are and not to worry if people are going to judge you, because that's a great way to tell who you do want in your life and who you don't. Because if people don't love you and accept you for who you are, that's not your friend, and that's not someone I would want to be around anyway. And I would also want my younger self to be more focused on building skills for a career or just a job in general, because I was way more focused on relationships and boys. I was very boy crazy as a young girl, still kind of am. and it's not really something that's serving me well as an adult. Like, all the time I spent in relationships could have been spent bettering myself and giving myself more skills or learning new things. And I know she wouldn't listen to me, but I would tell my younger self to not focus so much on boys. Are you a cat or a dog person? I am both. In terms of owning, I would probably go for a pug. I've always loved pugs. My best friend had a pug for years and he was my favorite dog. I tend to gravitate towards smaller dogs, and also I love cats as well, but it depends on the kind of cat, because there are some cats that are really nasty. What's a hobby or interest you really want to explore but haven't yet, and why? Gosh, you guys are asking all the thought-provoking questions. I love it. I would really love to learn how to scream in terms of music, because I always joke that I have a Disney princess voice and I'm more on the sweet side of things where I can't really have that guttural metal vocal like Maria Brink from In This Moment. I would love to be able to scream like her, but I just don't know how to properly do it, and I use my voice so much these days because I'm streaming and filming YouTube videos and singing as well, so that's pretty much why I haven't done that. I don't want to damage my vocal cords. Who was your favorite in season 4 of Dragula? Oh, I love that show so much. So my favorite for the new Dragula series has definitely been Sigourney Beaver. She is just so stunning, and I love that she uses white contacts in almost all of her looks. I love her her body is insane. Oh my gosh, she's amazing. And her Bride of Frankenstein look, incredible. But I wish she had gotten more into like the grungy and really dirty parts of horror. Whereas with Hoso and Dolly, they weren't really afraid to get into the more beast-like or monstrous side. She's always very beautiful and very glam, which is great, but I would love to see her get a little more disgusting, for lack of a better term. If you couldn't wear black, pink, or red for a year, what would be your go-to color? Oh, probably purple. I've been really getting into royal purple lately, so that would be my next go-to color. How did you come up with your social media channel name? So when I first started my Vessel of Blood Instagram, it was after a breakup and I wanted to reinvent myself, and I really wanted to be a model. That was the first thing that I wanted to accomplish. I also wanted to do that to be like, look, I'm so much better without you. But I was dating my now boyfriend and he loves Dark Souls and Bloodborne, and I was watching him play Dark Souls 2, and there was something that, I think the name of the character is the King or Vendrick, I'm not exactly sure. Great games though. If you haven't seen them or played them, highly recommend. And there was this one quote that really stuck out to me. It said, "We are feeble vessels with feebler souls." And I heard that and I thought, wow, I really like that term, vessel. And I'd heard it before in terms of ships, which I love ships because of Pirates of the Caribbean. So I thought that was a perfect term for me. And I was looking for something that was short and sweet, that would be memorable but not too long, easy to pronounce, and something that was on the darker side of things. So I thought, what could I add with that? Vessel's cool, but I feel like it needs something else. So Vessel of Cobweb, Vessel of Swords, no, that doesn't make sense. Vessel of Blood, because that is literally what you are as a human. You are a container of blood. So I thought that was perfect, used it, and all these years later I'm really glad that I picked that and I stuck to it, because that's my brand now. People recognize me as Vessel of Blood, and I still like the name after 7 or 8 years, so I'm really happy with that choice. But it all stemmed from seeing my boyfriend play Dark Souls 2. Favorite song? I mean, it changes so often for me. It varies from week to week, but right now I would say one of my favorite songs is Woman by Doja Cat. It just has such a great beat. I can dance to it. I love Doja Cat. She's amazing, beautiful, and talented. Alright, so I think those are all of the Instagram questions. Now I'm gonna go over to YouTube. Do you have any idols, like people who inspired your style? I have a lot of people that have inspired my style over the years. Dita Von Teese is one that comes to mind. I love her. If I wasn't goth, I would be a pinup girl for sure. Kat Von D inspired a lot of my earlier style as well. But for the most part, it's usually just people that I follow on Instagram, a lot of gothic models, people who do amazing makeup, and I don't really have any idols per se. There's no one I really look up to and be like, I want to be just like them. If anything, I would say my idol is my mom, because she's just very inspiring. She's an amazing woman. She's very kind, and I aspire to be more like her in many ways. So I guess my idol is my mom. Because whenever I hear the word idol, I always associate that with a celebrity like Lady Gaga or Pink or Rihanna, and I've never really looked up to anybody like that in that way, except for my mom. But I also think that whenever someone says, this is my idol, they put them up on a pedestal, and I don't think that's a good idea to do to anybody, because everyone's human, everyone has flaws. So I love my mom, but I don't put her on a pedestal. I know she's a human being, but I do aspire to be like her in many ways. I will say another person who very much inspired my style in the beginning was Lady Gaga, and I still love her. She's amazing. It's an interesting question. How do you handle with your illness on a daily basis? I'm not sure what you're referring to. Maybe you're referring to my carpal tunnel. I don't really have any illnesses to speak of, unless you're also talking about my allergies to certain foods. So I guess I'll talk about those too. But I developed carpal tunnel in my right hand after working at a newspaper for 3 or 4 years. It was just a lot of repetitive movements with my hand clicking a mouse because I was a graphic designer, so I was making a lot of advertisements, I was laying out the newspapers, and because of poor posture and just, again, repetitive motions every single day, week after week, year after year, my hand couldn't really take it anymore, and unfortunately developed it in my right hand, and now I think I'm developing it in my left hand as well. It's not pleasant, I don't like it, and that was actually part of the reason why I tried to change career paths from being a graphic designer to becoming an actress, because actors and actresses don't really have to be on the computer all the time. I don't really deal with it. I should do more to deal with it, but I get a lot of pain, and I don't know if you can tell, my hands are pretty shaky for the most part. I do have a special mouse that I use for my computer, which is kind of like this, so it's a little bit better in terms of posture for my hand and my fingers. So that's something that I've done. And I also have some braces that I need to wear occasionally when it gets really bad. And there are some things that I just can't do. Like, for example, I went to a friend of mine's Viking wedding this past summer, and we had this great thing planned where we were all going to do a little bit of blacksmithing, and we were making our own troll crosses from pieces of metal, which was amazing. I really enjoyed that. But unfortunately, because of my carpal tunnel, I was not really able to do it as well as everyone else. I was in a lot of pain. I wasn't sure if I'd be able to finish it, because with blacksmithing, it's a lot of hitting a piece of metal with a heavy hammer. So doing that and trying to shape this piece of metal for a couple of hours, you can only imagine, my carpal tunnel was not very happy with me. But I do get coldness, I get numbness in my wrist, my fingers, and my arm, and I went to go see a doctor about it, and they told me that it wasn't bad enough to require surgery. And I've heard enough stories about people from my own family who had carpal tunnel and then they got the surgery and that made it worse. And for my diet, I just try to stay away from foods that I'm not supposed to eat, but I do cheat on occasion because I just love food so much and I miss bread. Would you rather win the lottery or work at the perfect job? Oh my gosh, that's a great question. See, I'm torn because if I won the lottery, I mean, it depends on how much of the lottery I would win. If it was like $1 billion, absolutely, because then I'd be set and I could do what I enjoyed. But working the perfect job for me would be acting in the MCU. That is my dream. That's what I aspire to as an actress. That would be incredible, and with that I feel like would come a lot of things that would make my life better. It would come with a nice paycheck, it would come with working with people that I admire and who have inspired me to become an actress myself, and it would also be really fulfilling because I'm not someone who can sit around their house and do nothing and be happy. So the idea of maybe just winning the lottery and not really doing anything because I have money for the rest of my life, it's not very appealing to me. But I just want to be doing something that impacts other people, that I find meaningful, and that makes me feel good, like I'm contributing to society in a way. So I think I would probably have to go with my dream job of working as an actress in the MCU. Did you ever get to experience the old Hot Topic, like the one with the spooky logo in the early 2000s? Yes, we actually have one of those in my local mall, I think. They never changed the doors. They still have the doors from back in the 2000s, so that's always really nice to see. It brings me back. But yes, I loved Hot Topic from a young age. I wasn't really allowed to shop in there as much because my parents thought, you know, anything with goth and alternative stuff was Satan worship and evil and bad and, you know, that old chestnut. But I did get to experience the old Hot Topic. How did you dress as a teenager? Do you have any tips for younger alternative people? I do. I actually have some videos I've done here on this channel talking about that, where it's how to dress goth on a budget, etc. So I'll leave that up in the cards for you guys to watch. But I did not dress goth at all until, like I said, I got into college. I think I started dressing goth when I was either 19 or 20. But as a teenager, I had I don't even know what I had. I had a weird style. It was a mix of just what other people around me were wearing at the time, and I also felt like a tomboy, so I would dress as a guy, not very flattering. A little like Billie Eilish, where I would cover up in t-shirts and big baggy pants, because my line of thinking was at the time, going back to how I was boy crazy, where the guys didn't pay a lot of attention to me because I was a bit of an ugly duckling. And I was like, well, if they're not paying attention to me where I'm dressing all girly, maybe I'll dress like one of the guys and then they'll like me. Because that totally works. It did not work, by the way. So I had a really weird mishmash of style. I'll see if I can find some pictures and put them here for you. But it was a lot of color, a lot of t-shirts and capris, and then I did start to have more of an emo phase in, I want to say, middle school to high school. So I dressed a little bit emo there, but I looked like a normal kid. Nothing really special. Do you ever feel like what you're wearing is too much? Yes, I dress goth, but sometimes I'm not brave enough to wear what I really want to. So what advice can you give me to feel more comfortable? There's nothing I can tell you. I know you probably don't want to hear this, but there's nothing I can tell you to make you feel more comfortable in your own skin. And this is something I struggle with myself. There are certain days where I put on an outfit and it just doesn't feel right. I don't feel comfortable. I don't feel confident. So it's really about you feeling comfortable and confident in your own skin. Then you're going to be able to wear it whatever the heck you want because you don't care about what other people think. You're happy with how you look. But there are days when I'm like, is this too much? Like, I love what I'm wearing. For example, what I'm wearing right now, I haven't really worn this out in public too much because I just feel like it's so extravagant with these sleeves, and they're amazing and I love them. But I still have that moment in my mind where I think, if I wear this, are people gonna think, oh, who does she think she is? And why is she so dressed up? Like, what's her problem? And I think that stems from the fear of people not liking me, which, you know, if they don't like me for something that I'm wearing, then I wouldn't want to be around them anyway. But it really is about how you feel in your own skin, being comfortable, being confident, because for me, that's what really gives me the comfort and I guess the confidence to go out looking the way that I do, is that I like it, it makes me feel good, and if you don't like it, that's too bad. Look the other way. It's taken me a long time to get there though, so I understand if that's something that you're still working on, but there's nothing that anyone else can really do or tell you to make that happen for you. It's all internal. Sounds cheesy, but if you love yourself and you're happy and confident in who you are as a person and how you look, then you'll be happy in wearing whatever you want. And it's also just not caring about what other people think, specifically strangers. Would you dye your actual hair instead of wearing wigs? I have dyed my hair multiple times. I've dyed it like a weird orangey red. I've dyed it black several times. But the reason why I don't really dye my hair instead of wigs is because I have so much hair. It would be very expensive. And I've asked a couple of hairstylists that I know how much it would cost and what the process would be like. It's a lot of bleaching, a lot of hair dye, a lot of money, and a lot of time. So for my mind, I want my hair to be healthy. I love having it long, and I worry that bleaching it will damage it regardless because you're bleaching your hair. But I would rather spend the money on getting fun wigs that I could switch out every day and have a different color, because when it comes to my looks, I change up my mind a lot. I am I'm not sure if flighty is the right term, but I like to change how I look a lot, more of a chameleon. And one day I'll want to have pink hair, and the next day I want to have blue and purple. And that's not very realistic when it comes to dyeing your hair. You can't dye it that much and not have it fall out of your head. And the other reason why I don't really have my hair dyed fun, funky colors is because in the acting industry, if you have brightly colored hair, that will definitely limit the roles that you can get. And because it's such a competitive industry already, I didn't want to do anything that would make it even harder for me to get roles. So just have my natural brown curly hair. And I like my natural hair. There's nothing wrong with it. People always think that because I wear wigs, I must hate my natural hair. Not true. Will you share how you got your Chanel started and share your experience working with YouTube? Sure, there's actually another video I talked about this, how I really got started, everything. I'll leave it up in the cards. But long story short, I just decided to start YouTube. I started with my first video, which was a lookbook, a gothic lookbook, and that was 5 years ago, I want to say now. But I basically just sat down one day, and I already had my lights and my camera set up from doing modeling on Instagram, and I just decided to start filming videos. And I started off by doing makeup tutorials. That was what I did in the beginning. And I could make a whole video just on this topic, so if you'd like to see that, let me know down below. But I just started making videos, and one thing that's really important for a YouTube channel or any social media is just to be yourself, because people can tell when you're not being authentic. And you don't want to be like everybody else out there. You want to be you because that's unique. And why would someone watch you when they could watch someone else that's already established doing the exact same thing? And working with YouTube doesn't pay very well, to be honest with you, unless you have millions of followers, because it's all through Google AdSense. We get paid because of, the ads that are being run on our videos, and not a lot of money. So most of the money that I make from YouTube are from my sponsorships. But I enjoy it. I love making content. I just wish it paid more so I could do it as just my only job. What is your favorite go-to shopping website from all the ones you've reviewed? Oh gosh, probably Shein. That is where I get a lot of things, like that's where I got this PVC bralette that I'm wearing right now. I just love that they have such a wide variety of clothing, and people always say, oh, well, you get sponsored by them, so you have to say that. I buy stuff from them with my own money all the time outside of my sponsored videos. And I just love their Halloween collection. Everything they had from that this year was amazing, and I'm really excited to see what they do for next year. What do you think about corsets for men? I love it. I've actually seen quite a few TikTok videos about this recently, and it just looks so good. I love alternative clothing for men. I wish there was more of it, and it's something that I wish I could do something about, but I don't really have the means or the experience to start a men's alternative clothing brand, but that is something we definitely need more of. But I think corsets for men are awesome. How do you get the courage to be your true self and not care about haters? To be honest with you, I just don't care. I just don't care about what people think, because unless it's someone that I know and love, what impact are they really having on your life? Especially with social media, the beautiful thing about it is that you can just block them, and then you won't have to hear from them ever again. The other thing that helped me too is realizing that people who are negative online, who are trolls, haters, is that they're usually just doing that because they're either jealous that you're doing something that they wish they could do themselves, they're insecure about themselves and they're taking it out on you, or they're just a really negative person in general. I have someone like that in my family, unfortunately, and I've caught them typing out really nasty negative comments on YouTube. I'm like, what are you doing? There is a person on the other side of that. Delete that. So I think it just really depends on the person, but usually it's just a sad, unhappy individual, and I pity them, to be honest with you. So that helped me realize that their opinions really don't matter. And also being able to live my life how I like, and doing things that make me happy and looking the way that I want is way more important than the opinion of strangers. Where do you get all your alt house decor, stuff like skulls, candle holders, pictures, etc.? I am stumped on good sites to use for different bits. Well, I find a lot of things at the Dollar Tree. I found things at Michael's, the store at home. I mean, you can find everything and anything on Amazon these days, so Amazon's a good one. But I usually go out shopping from September to November and get all of the Halloween stuff that every store has. ShopRite sells some really fun light-up pumpkins that are great for house decor. What is your favorite book or author? I've always loved the Harry Potter series, and I grew up reading them, so that's my favorite book series. Are you interested in art? If so, do you have any artists that you admire? I don't really have any artists that come to mind. When I was in school, because I have a degree in fine art, I knew a lot more artists. I'm trying to think back to my art history class. There was one, I think Caravaggio was one of them, that had the really beautiful play between dark and light. And there's actually a few on Instagram that I follow right now. I think Zach Dunn is one of them. Let me see. Yeah, so Zach Dunn Art, if you don't know who he is, oh my gosh, please go check him out. His art is incredible. It's very grotesque and dark, and I love all the subject matter that he uses, but that is someone whose art I very much enjoy. I love any kind of dark, grotesque art. Michael Hussar, that's another one. Michael Hussar's work is incredible. I love his style. So I'll show you one of my favorite pieces that he's done. It's called Daddy's Girl. So I love his style. Do you have a pet? If not, what kind of pet would you have? I do not currently have a pet. I love birds and I love pugs. So I would probably have a parakeet or a parrot or a cockatiel and a pug. What do you do for a living? Social media. I do YouTube, TikTok, Instagram, and I'm also a live streamer on an app called Pacocha. I was acting for a while, but unfortunately because of COVID, that kind of went kaput. What are your favorite artists and bands? Oh my gosh, and favorite movies to watch? Gosh, that is a really good question. There's way too many to list, but if I had to pick a few right now, Nightwish. I love Nightwish in this moment. I love Amon Amarth. Oh gosh, Kiss, Carrie Underwood. I mean, I have a very wide variety of music that I listen to and that I like. I also love the Guardians of the Galaxy soundtracks. I like pretty much every kind of music except for most rap and hip-hop, and also bluegrass. I can't stand bluegrass. But my go-tos are usually musicals like show tunes or Broadway, rock, metal, and pop. Like, I love Ariana Grande. Favorite movies to watch, anything with Jim Carrey. I love Ace Ventura, Liar Liar. I love inappropriate, immature humor, so anything like that. I also love action and adventure, so I love Harry Potter, I love fantasy, Pirates of the Caribbean, Lord of the Rings. But I also love romantic comedies too. And then I kind of already answered this, but when did you start wanting to be alternative? Were you alternative as a teenager? I was in my mind, but not so much in the way that I dressed. I always had a soft spot for dark, macabre things when I was a young kid, but I didn't really understand or know that that was a thing. I just thought, you know, everybody liked that. And then I really started becoming more alternative in my last 2 years in college. What are your favorite goth bands? I mean, pretty much just all the typical ones. Susie and the Banshees, Bauhaus, The Cure, Joy Division. I will say there is one song that I really, really like above all the others when it comes to goth music. It's called You Bleed Me by Suspiria. I found out about that song through It's Black Friday, so that's probably my favorite, more gothic song. Alright, so my last question is, how are you? How's your mental health? Please be honest with us, we'd like to know. Thank you for asking, that's very sweet. I am okay. It's been a bit of a process this past month or two. I'm just trying to figure out what I want in life, what I want to do moving forward. Do I want to continue to chase my dream of being an actress, or should I just give up and find a more conventional job, so to speak? Because the problem with me, and it's something I've been trying to work on, is that I'm a very indecisive person. It's very hard for me to pick a path and stick to it. I like variety. I like changing things up in my appearance and for my life. So trying to nail down what it is I want and where I want to put my energy and what I want to do, really, has been really hard for me. Because there are so many ideas that I have. Like, I was thinking about becoming a performing singer who gets hired by casinos and bars and does live music. And then I'd also thought about starting my own clothing company because that's something that I would love to do. And there's just so many options and so many things. The problem is I like doing too many things. If I could just pick one and put all of my energy and my effort into that, I'm sure it would be successful. But I kind of stretch myself too thin over doing a bunch of different things. So just trying to figure out what I want to do, plan for my life, because, as I'm sure many of you can relate, I do not make enough money to own my own house. I cannot really support myself financially on my own, and it's something that's frustrated me a lot as an adult because we have this societal pressure and expectations of by the time you reach a certain age, you need to be on your own, you need to start a family, get married, have kids. And while there are some things I have no problem, saying, no, that's not for me, other things it's a little harder to do. Because for me, I feel like at this point in my life, I should be able to have my own house. I should be able to support my parents and be able to help them pay off their loans and their mortgage and whatever else they have on their plate so they don't have to worry. And I can't. And that is not a very good feeling. And that's something that I've struggled with for a long time. But I've been trying to just take things one day at a time, one small goal at a time. But as far as my mental health, I'm okay. I've been up and down a lot this year, but right now I'm at a fairly good place. I'm neither super low nor super high, so I'm okay with that. And hopefully 2022 will be kinder to all of us. So that is it for my Q&A video. Hope you enjoyed. Thank you so much to everyone who asked me questions. And I'm not sure when this video will be coming out, so if it's before New Year's, hope you have a happy New Year, and if after, I hope you had a great New Year's celebration, and here's to 2022 being better than the past couple of years. It's gonna be a good one. I've decided. That's it. It's not allowed to be a bad year. But I hope you're having a wonderful day or night wherever you are, and I will see you in my next video. Bye. Oh, that was a good one. Where are your questions? I know I found... There they are. I found them. Springtime for Hitler and Germany. Look, it's springtime. Why are people so rude? Someone just commented, you have a boyfriend? Wow, good luck to him because you're scary. Alright, focus. Boobs. Do you have them? Yes, yes I do. Right, get my swords in order.